Brad Holmes and the Lions have basically said, and they've cemented their position.
Oh,
Draft
Myles
and
Garrett. Yeah, you're
yeah, of
just going to
course.
hear that's what he
Draft
cemented.
and develop. Draft and develop. So it's in your head. Okay, draft and develop. Draft and develop. Patience. But there are not too many opportunities where a player of Myles Garrett caliber is out there saying, "Move me. I don't want this opportunity anymore to be with the team that drafted me. I don't see the future." So you look at it from the Lions' perspective and you say, "Man, it's a perfect fit because look, you give up a couple first round picks, they're all going to be 28 to 32. You're not going to find a player potentially the caliber of what you're going to get in Myles Garrett." So in my mind, you're like, okay, I'm not so beholden to draft picks, but you talk to people and they get a little unsettled. They know how good Brad Holmes is in regards to picking, talented individuals that fit the mold. That's how you go from a 3-win team to a 15-win team. But I think that in order to go from a 15-win team and a regular season darling to a playoff darling is you need a couple more dogs. You need a couple more game changers that are going to make plays at the critical moment. So in my mind, I'm all about, hey, you want for 2 first round picks, no players? I'm all about it. Maybe you can wait it out and kind of bring that price down a little bit, maybe a first rounder and a day 2 pick that could entice the Browns. But where are you at with Myles Garrett, and how do you weigh in when people have the debate about, look, let Brad do his thing, and who needs a mega star to come to Detroit? But to me, stars sell tickets, and also stars make plays in big games like the Super Bowl that you're trying to win.
Yeah, so a couple of things. And I am one of those people. I'm very frugal, right? I mean, when it comes to the salary cap, I look at this thing like it's my money, right? I'm like the Dave Chappelle gif where he's got the crown and all the dollars. Like, don't touch my money. That's the way that I approach the salary cap. The NFL draft is the same way. But at the end of the day, Myles Garrett is I mean, he's going to Canton. There's no doubt about it. Like, that guy is a Hall of Fame player at the age of 29. I am more than comfortable. I mean, Calais Campbell's playing at 38, right? Cam Hayward, I forget how old he is, but he's not exactly, a young pup in this game because you figure that NFL years kind of like dog years. So when I look at Myles Garrett, people might be worried about the age. The production has never stopped. You you will get more out of Myles Garrett with Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. Because just think about it like this: you got Myles on one side, Aiden on the other, and Aleem McNeil with Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes behind you, whoever else you want at the defensive tackle position. That's a front seven that you can put in however you want to break it down, whether it's NFC, AFC, NFL as a total. That's a front seven that has people's attention. That causes serious concern. And like we said with Philadelphia, you get to the quarterback at 4. I mean, imagine if you had a little bit of zone help underneath where, you don't have to necessarily stick your young rookie corner Terrion Arnold on an island all season long. And he did a great job. Carlton Davis did a great job. Amik Robertson did a great job. Carlton breaks his jaw. Amik breaks his arm. I mean, what in God's green earth is going on out here? Anyways, back to Myles Garrett. We are not, and this is a psychological project, right? Because we as a fan base, and I talked a lot about this on the radio, how will we handle the first loss of the season? Because we're not used to being here, right? We've entered a different discussion and we're in a different room, right? So it's like the first time you go into like a board meeting. You want to make sure you look nice and your presentation is good, and you're going to meet a whole bunch of new people that you might think are, a caliber above where you are at. But you have to believe in yourself and believe in your skill set that you belong in that room to have those conversations with those people. Same thing applies to our fan base and where we're at right now. We are in a different room, right? We are now in conversations where it's where do the Lions fall at in the playoff picture, right? Do they have enough to win the final game? It's no longer a pipe dream, it's reality, which also means we're not picking in the top half of the draft unless Brad Holmes is going to make a move and try to adjust some things to go fly up there and figure out and find a guy that he really, really likes. Do I trust Brad Holmes? Yeah, I think just about everybody who's listening to this and most people around the NFL believe that he is extremely good because as a GM, you're going to make your hay rounds 2 through 7, right? And who you can acquire undrafted, who you can develop, who's on your coaching staff that's going to make that happen. The first rounders, I mean, those are kind of the softballs. Like, you just assume your GM is going to hit on those first round picks. It doesn't always work out like that. And that's why guys end up getting fired. But he's done such a good job of finding talent 3rd, 4th, 5th round that you almost have to, as a Lions fan, kind of adjust your way of thinking. We're not drafting top half of the draft. It's not even the top, 75% of the draft. Our draft picks are going to look different. So if you're going to give up, and it was Colton Pouncey of the Athletic, and I believe the trade was first round pick this year, first round pick next year, as well as a third round pick this year, plus Hendon Hooker in exchange for Myles Garrett and a fourth rounder coming back. I mean, I'm not saying no. Who's driving? That's the first. That's the question I'm asking. Like, I like Cleveland, good city, right? And so, from that perspective, when you have the ability, because what you're doing is you're evaluating potential versus legitimate NFL production. We have a guy. We've got plenty of tape. We've got plenty of resume. He said it's not about the money. It's not about the Hall of Fame. It's about winning. And I'm like, all right, Miles, how serious are you about that comment? Because it's not about the money. When everybody can, chip in a few bucks here. We heard Joe Burrow talk about it earlier this week, restructuring to free up some cap space and trying to get his team. We watched Tom Brady do it for decades, where he needed to figure out a way to move some money around in order to make sure that he had the best possible team around him that gave him the best chance to win. So if that deal was actually on the table, if I was Brad Holmes, yeah, who's driving? Well, I'm doing that without a doubt. Can they drive the price down? Will the price go up if a team like Washington wants to get in the mix because they feel like, hey, this isn't just a flash in the pan? I don't know if I necessarily see, and we always usually see it rookie to sophomore, where you have that little bit of regression where teams have some tape on you. Jaden Daniels is a little bit different. He's a little bit different, and they were actually pretty good and pretty close, and they've got a good coaching staff. They've got all the pieces that they need. They might feel inclined that, hey, we got the quarterback on the rookie deal. We can spend a little bit more right now. That's a team that I worry about. So if Cleveland is willing to meet his demands, right? Because, Andrew Berry, their GM, has been outspoken and saying, we don't want to deal him. Well, I mean, push comes to shove, and he's like, you better deal me or I'm not playing. Then you have to get something in return. If it's available and it's feasible, then yes, I would prefer that the Lions make that move.